Hello, my name is David Lantz. You know, in the midst of the news about the House memo that's been released about the unwarranted use of the FISA request to investigate the Trump administration and campaign, you may have missed an interview that Rush Limbaugh did on his program about a week ago, where he invited young millennials to call in and talk about why they didn't like President Trump and why they tend to support liberal progressive policies instead of more conservative ones. And that's something that I've done some research in my new book called The Unraveling of We the People. And so that's what I want to talk about today. You know, one of the millennials called into Rush's program, and this is what he had to say. Quote, "It's coming direct from their Reddit feed and their Facebook feed, you know, sites like Vox. And I think we've gotten to this point that it's just too easy for you to actively seek out what you want to hear to reaffirm what you think is going on. I think this is the main reason why people in my age group are polling the way that they are," unquote. Well, they're using something called viral marketing. It can be described this way. You see something on Facebook or Twitter or something that you like, so you click on it, you look at it, you say, hey, I'm going to share that, so you share it, and then somebody else sees it, and they click on it, and they go to the website where the news article was, and if they like it, they repeat the process. And that's what I call viral marketing, and the liberals have been very good at using that to dominate something that I'll call the viral loop. And so one of the things that a guy by the name of George Soros knows is that this is a great way to push the progressive liberal philosophy out. He has something called the Open Society Foundation, and they give lots of money away to various groups, including one called the Center for Public Integrity. Don't you like that name? Well, on the board of directors for the Center of Public Integrity is a woman by the name of Arianna Huffington. Now, if that reminds you of the Huffington Post, you're right, because she and a guy by the name of Jonah Peretti were the co-founders of that. Now, according to a website called ebizmba.com, the Huffington Post is the number one political news site of all the websites that are out there on the internet. They blow the competition away, frankly. They have over 110 million unique monthly visitors. Now, how do they drive traffic to that? Well, there are various kinds of viral websites. One of them is called BuzzFeed. Remember Jonah Peretti? Well, he is the CEO and founder of BuzzFeed. They have over 150 million unique visitors that come to their website. Now, ebizmba.com has information about the top websites of this nature, and I talk about them in my book, The Unraveling of We the People. For example, two founders of a website called Upworthy were formerly involved in MoveOn.org. Their names are Eli Pariser and Peter Kochley. And then similarly, a guy by the name of Chris Olchek is the founder of another viral website called PolicyMake. And so these websites then push information to websites like the Huffington Post. The Huffington Post has over 233,000 other sites like these viral ones linking into them. The next closest is Glenn Beck's Blaze with less than 14,000. That's data from the end of calendar year 2016. And so sites like BuzzFeed, Upworthy, PolicyMake, and others push these articles from the liberal progressives' point of view out to millennials. And they've been very good at doing that. And they've come to dominate the viral loop. Now, these various people that do this sort of thing, you might say, are the graduate students of the 60s revolution generation that are headed up by people like Bill Ayers. You might be interested that Bill Ayers, the former head of the Weather Underground, is now today a school reform activist, and he's the distinguished professor of education and senior university scholar at the University of Illinois in Chicago, retired according to his bio. And I talk about him in my book. And so what he and others like them have been doing is training these young millennials in terms of how to be activists to undermine the American way of life. And that then leads us to what's going on in the unconstitutional use of the FISA courts to go after political enemies of these various progressive movements. And so why is America unraveling? Well, first, a concerted effort in the early 1900s by the progressive movements to remove Christianity and the principles of economic self-reliance from being taught in the public school system got underway. Then during the 1960s, this generation of sex, drugs, and rock and roll have now come of age and risen to power in positions of importance in government, business, and in academia. And so third, now they're in a position to promote this new civics that undermines our constitutional form of government. Want to learn more about how to apply the wise jargon of God's holy word to the culture around us? Well, I encourage you to click on theunraveling.us where you can learn about how to order my book both in print and in Kindle form. Well, thanks so much, and God bless.